Definitely climate change and the Arctic ice melt. The possible repercussion of the climatic changes and ice melting in those regions in other parts of regions or area than Arctic or Antarctic region.
Well, climate change is an important factor. I'd say it's the main factor, that there are opportunities opening up in the Arctic that were not there before, and so the countries of the region and outside players are wanting to take advantage of those opportunities.
Well, basically what's happening is there is a whole host of factors that are fundamentally transforming the Arctic. But in short, the Arctic is becoming part of the international system. It doesn't matter if you're talking climate change, resource development, geopolitics, all of these factors are combining to basically make the Arctic accessible and desirable. And as a direct result, what used to be really the purview of the few Arctic states, Canada, United States, Russia, the entire world has taken notice and have taken notice not only of the possible value, but of the fact that they can in fact at one point or another have access to the region.
Well, we're seeing where a new ocean is literally transforming as the sea ice cap recedes. We are having to defend new borders. We are seeing an uptick in commercial and human activity, and this is presenting the Arctic coastal states as well as the near Arctic states a whole new set of challenges. So that's why it's in the news.
Well, it's an emerging issue for two main reasons. The first one is climate change and all the unknown of climate change, which push all Arctic states and non-Arctic states to be interested in this region because they feel like something is changing so quickly. They want to be part of the race going on. And the second is energy resources, and that's of course something which push both the state and the private actor to be interested in this region.
Multiple reasons, of course, but one main reason is due to the melting of sea ice, making the Arctic accessible for economic enterprise to move in. And the region is rich in oil and gas and in multiple minerals. It opens up shortcuts between the most industrialized parts of the world, the Atlantic and the Pacific. So, and that's the access sign. And then, of course, technology is improving so that it's possible with this melting to utilize the resources of the region. So, and politically, we do have a structure being formed to govern the area. So there are multiple areas that contributes to the opening of the Arctic for international politics and international economy.
Is that they are very energy-hungry nations. They are highly dependent on foreign sources of energy. For example, Japan and Korea, there are, I think, close to 90 or 92%. They're dependent on energy sources that come from abroad, which is mostly Middle Eastern countries. So there's a need to diversify the energy sources. And second of all, they are maritime and trading nations. All of them have major ports for trades, and the economies are very much export-led. So being able to secure sea routes is particularly important.
Well, there's a changing environment in the Arctic as a result of climate change, and so, for example, there's going to be more possibility of shipping in the region, so issues around the governance of the shipping will have to be addressed. There are opportunities in the region for oil and mineral exploitation, and there's opportunities in supporting the possibility of new shipping, of new ports and new railroads. And so all this change that's going on will require a lot of cooperation, a lot of partnership, not just amongst the Arctic states, but also of outside players, because it will require capital and also expert human resources to develop. So the Arctic is potentially an area of a lot of economic growth, but it will only be achieved by an international effort.
On the one hand, people do want to make money. I mean, there's no question that there are economic interests of the Arctic states that see the opportunity that is given by other countries coming. But there's members of those societies that also see this as a bad thing. There are many, for example, within the environmental movement of various countries that see any type of oil development as a completely negative action that should not be occurring. There are many that are concerned about the possibility of fishing, others see opportunity. So just like on issues worldwide, it's really a mixed bag in terms of how you want to slice or dice it and who you talk to.
So as the sea cap, the sea ice recedes, we have new shipping lanes. The Northern Sea Route is of potential interest, and that goes from Asia to Europe above on the Russian coastline. We have the potential for oil and gas exploration in areas where we really weren't quite interested in developing. Fishing, tourism, all of these issues are coming in more significant ways. And so how do we deal with a lot more human traffic, vessel traffic in the Arctic? Well, you have to enhance search and rescue. You have to enhance your infrastructure to meet that commercial and economic activity.
Well, I think discussing issues around the Northern Sea Route and the way the Russian wants to have it operate is something that should be more developed, because there are a lot of security and environmental issues around that. And the Russian position seems to me relatively open in negotiation.
Well, when it comes to shipping, there are 3 shipping routes that can be utilized. And that's the Northeast Passage, the Northwest Passage, and in the future, the Transpolar Passage going around or in the vicinity of the North Pole. And of course, this is as seen from the point of view of Egypt and Panama, which now takes the majority of shipping between the East and the West. This may be one reason why they may be a bit skeptical about the opening up of the Arctic in this respect. There is no doubt that there is a need for the oil and gas, for instance. There is a need for shortening down trading routes in shipping. But at the same time, this is a special region. Environmentally speaking, the sea ice will still be there. In winter it will freeze over. So in order to mine the resources and utilize the resources in the region, you need sustainability. So that's of course one of the challenges, because we are not quite sure what sustainability is, apart from defining it theoretically.